Okay, what's up, people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone's doing good. Let me make sure I'm using the correct mic. Yes, I am. Okay, guys, welcome back to another stream. Hope you're all doing well. So, as always, guys, a bunch of markets to get through. Some interesting updates on a few markets. Particularly, I'm quite focused on the yen and on the USD, but of course, we can look at a wide range of markets. If you're interested in a particular market, drop it in the chat and we will discuss. As always, guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel. It does really help out. Hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. And of course, check out the memberships if you are interested in supporting the channel further and see potential trade signals and also added technical videos as well if you're interested. But we'll start with the dollar because I've been quite heavy on the USD this week. I've been looking for a lot of longs, but that just hasn't persisted this week. Took a break even on dollar CAD and a loss on pound USD. We did have some momentum yesterday, but was it yesterday or Tuesday? Actually Monday. So not even Tuesday as well. So yeah, it was Monday. We had a bit of a bounce at that support level. We did see a nice reaction. However, that reaction just was a reaction. It never quite got going. And I said on the weekly analysis, and we spoke a lot about this yesterday, if this support level breaks here for the dollar, then I do lose pretty much all my confidence in that USD bullish bias. And of course, not that the market can't still go up, it can, but it's just not a good sign to see price failed to break resistance twice. So he formed resistance once, failed again there as well, and now breaking through support. So from a bullish standpoint, you kind of got two key factors going against you there a little bit. Of course, the market is probabilities at the end of the day. Maybe price does find momentum, but I wouldn't be as confident as I was for the past 2-3 weeks. So going forward with the dollar, we do have a large range on our hands, basically equal highs just above 100 or just below 100.25, we'll call it. And we've got some equal lows here back down 96.5. There is a pretty big range here. There is a possibility that we have rejected the high, possibly to see a push back to the low. After all, dollar has been falling technically since the start of the year. Pretty sure this is Jan 2025. So we have pretty much seen a bearish year for the DXY, and the past few months has been quite flat. We failed to see the reversal. I would suggest the break of this high would imply a reversal, and USD could be shifting bias. We just basically failed to break resistance there. So I'm leaning towards a bearish bias now, especially if momentum picks up very well, because it is quite choppy in here. But if I do see some conviction to the downside, I would actually be interested in some shorts here. Of course, not on DXY, but maybe some longs in euro, longs in pound, which we'll take a look at in a moment. I do think some nice opportunities to the downside could occur. Now, again, I wouldn't be looking to target this support level one go. There are numerous levels of support to our left here, which would make a lot of sense to keep a close eye on. And also, be careful. This is a noisy range. It could be a situation where you fluctuate and just see a lot of ugly price action as well. So I'm being a bit watchful of that. But yeah, momentum's picking up to the downside. Looks like we're having a break and retest of this level. Momentum is still pretty much with the bears, consistent lower highs over the past week or two. So yeah, in my eyes, I'm looking at a bit more downside, but I'm looking to gauge momentum first before I do find opportunities. So being quite patient there. Hey, what's up, CS? Welcome to the stream, my man. I hope you're doing good. Rowan, what's up? Hope you're doing well. Yes, we can look at the FTSE. I'll just go through a couple of USD pairs first, and then I'll take a look at FTSE for you. Of course, if anyone else has any requests, drop it in the chat, and I'll be happy to take a look. But I'll go through pound and euro, and then I'll take a look at the FTSE. So yeah, pound USD, very strong break yesterday. Price was not messing around. Pound was actually a little bit strong as well. Of course, aided with that USD weakness too. A lot of USD pairs have made a bit of a bullish move this week. So pound for me is again back in a bit of a range, similar to what the DXY is doing. We've got a range in the DXY and the daily chart, and I would agree to a certain degree that we kind of got a range here for pound USD as well. And essentially, I was looking for the continuation through this low. Essentially, we just didn't get that. And especially if the DXY is going to fall, we could see pound USD rise and potentially look to go and tap those highs at 1.37. So pound USD, I do think is actually quite set up nicely to take advantage of some longs if USD is going to keep falling. I quite actually like the makeup of this because it looks like price just rejects the low of the range. And if that momentum persists, I expect it to get to the high of the range. I would also say 50% of the range is an area to keep a lookout for. So around 1.345, actually, we can be a bit more detailed with the fib. I mean, pretty much the same level. So yeah, around now, be watchful to see maybe if we lose momentum. But a very strong candle closure yesterday, which really implies momentum stepped up. So intraday or intra-week bias for pound USD, I would suggest keep an eye on this consolidation and looking for retest and more upside. I do think that's the smartest trade right now. Looking for that USD weakness. Pound looks to be a little bit of the stronger side of things right now. And we've got the middle of the range just above our heads over there. I think that's a pretty smart trade. It lines up with some resistance to the left there as well. Euro, pretty much the same outlook as well. Overall, looking pretty bullish again, especially in that last candle close. I would say pound looks a little bit better because we just got like a clear range and prices clearly rejected the low of the range. So the path I'm expecting price to follow is quite obvious. I would say euro is just a little bit choppier. I mean, equally you could say we've got a range as well. It's just not as clean as pound. It would be nice if euro came back to bounce off this low instead of kind of 2/3 or 3/4 of the way down. But equally so, this could be another high low to this low here, especially since we're kind of breaking out this counter trend line, momentum's picked up. Perhaps we do see something like this back to resistance. And again, it comes back down to what DXY is going to do. If this breakout here as well is even the breakout, didn't see that. Even the breakout of this counter trend line and also that support level does invite some momentum. If DXY is going to do that, probably going to see euro do the opposite, of course. So I think there could be some interesting trades on the USD pairs in the opposing directions that I was looking for this week. I wouldn't be getting into any trades just yet, but that's what I'm hinting to. I want to see a bit more momentum in the dollar first, and then I actually will be looking for those setups. In terms of the FTSE, we can take a look at that. Do I have it down here? Yes, I do. Okay, we'll go for the FTSE for Rowan. CS, DXY bearish and cautious as it's near no man's land. Very true. I mean, we are still in a range in the high time frame, so it's not like we've got like a free flowing trend. It is still quite noisy there for the dollar, which is kind of why I'm waiting for a bit more momentum to really show that the bears have truly arrived here. So then I can just look for pullbacks essentially. Bearish stance of DXY is 19.6. Okay, I'll take a look at that in a moment. So yeah, for the FTSE, generally speaking, daily chart looking relatively healthy. Weekly chart, likewise as well. I mean, for an indice, what do you expect? Clean up trends, and you got that for the FTSE at the moment. It was very choppy in this period, but momentum's picked up very well. So I'll still be pretty bullish here for the FTSE. Technically, everything's looking quite healthy. We've had a bit of an aggressive pullback, but I wouldn't be too worried about that. It depends on your time horizon, how you're looking to trade this. If you're looking for like a big swing trade, well, I would suggest looking for a deeper pullback again. This was like our last major low, which gave us that big rally. Price tested it once. I would be a fan if price can come back and test it again. I think that would be a great place to position a long trade, entries in that area, stops and leave that zone, and just simply look to take advantage of the market conditions, which is a pretty healthy trend. So if you're looking for like a swing trade, which could take you a few days, potentially a couple of weeks to play out, I think that's a smart trade. If you're a bit more intraday or intra-week for the FTSE, it's a bit awkward, I must admit, because we're not in the same kind of flow as we were here. We technically broke it through some 4-hour structure to our left. So there's a clear weakening in this on the lower time frames. So I wouldn't be as bullish as I would be on the higher time frames. So I would suggest if I'm looking to buy the FTSE here, I want to see a bit more evidence that the buyers have really come back into the market after this big bearish leg, and that would look like another breakout because we've got some momentum coming in here, healthy pullback, some more momentum, we're a bit more flat now. Perhaps price can roll back over. Like I said, maybe that daily setup can take shape. But if we don't do that, we see another strong breakout. Well, that tells me the buyers are really back in control. And then again, looking for pullbacks, perhaps even a retest of that same range might be a great place for entries. And of course, you've got the swing either to target or trail stops, however you want to manage the position. So yeah, FTSE, I would only be looking to buy. There's no bearish setup here that makes sense really. Of course, you can look to short, but it's just always going to be a harder task in a bullish market like this. So I'd only be looking to buy. So that's 50% of the work done. Now it's just where do you want to buy? And of course, what your time horizon is. If you're a bit more swing, I think this low is a great place to be looking to buy. If you're looking at a bit more intraday and want to kind of ride momentum for maybe a couple of days or two or within the day, then I would see if we can break out the range and retest it. I wouldn't want to trade inside of that. And if we do break to the downside, there might be some shorts there to take advantage of. I'm just not a big fan. I'd rather just stick to the buys here. But if you are short buys, that could make some sense as well. Okay, I'll take a look at that 98.6 level you mentioned, CS replay. What do you think of dollar CAD? Yes, we can take a look at that as well, no problem. So let me just have a look at that 98.6 level on the dollar. So that's around about here. I mean, that is a nice area of demand. It did kind of give us a last major rally, which was this move, which I think was, price came back to respect those highs before coming down. So that would be an area which I would expect to see a reaction. I'm just not confident that the dollar is now going to start to rally. I mean, it could do, of course, not fortune tellers here. I think the most important thing about this zone is that it's a smart place for a buy. We've seen momentum, we've seen a strong reaction. There's a good chance, especially if price starts to slow down, we could see a bounce here. It's just I wouldn't be looking for a trend continuation. I would say the only way I do turn bullish now would be on a strong break of this high. If anything, I'd be neutral on the dollar or quite bearish if I do see momentum pick up. So I do like 98.6. I think it's a smart place for a bounce at the very least. But yeah, I just wouldn't be looking for any home runs personally. I just don't think we've got the momentum right now. And the fact that we're trading inside a big range in the daily chart is not helping. So yeah, I do like that zone. Of course, you can see in a bit more detail there, the 4-hour chart, nice kind of drift, and then suddenly the big surge to the upside. So clearly a lot of buying pressure at this level. We could see that reaction again, especially as we've taken out some prior lows here as well. Perhaps that might give us a bit of a pullback. Yeah, it's just not looking for the big move here for the DXY. And altogether, the dollar has been choppy over the past few months, so it's been a lot of in and out. I mean, in hindsight, the best way to trade the dollar has been just kind of looking to buy low, sell high, not being too aggressive with your position because you've just been chopping around all over the place. Okay, you're really long. Okay, from 94.50, whereabouts is that? Nope, that's the US 100. 94.50. Okay, down here. Wow, very nice place. Looking very healthy. So yeah, I would suggest. I mean, I'm sure you got your plan for that trade. I would just recommend just to see out that plan. I don't wanna disturb that. I mean, if I was long from there, I'd probably have. It depends on the situation. If I'm looking for that swing trade, which I'd imagine you are with that placement there, then my targets would be a push back to the high, and I probably would have like a very loose trail, just in case price does come back down against me, but I'll give myself a lot of room. If I was quite aggressive, then I'll probably have a tighter trail, and I won't have a TP. I'll just see how far we can push the trade. But I think in terms of where entry is, it's a great place. If momentum can pick out and break out that consolidation, you're looking pretty good for a push back to the high. I mean, the market makes sense. So yeah, very nice position to be in. And if you can break that consolidation, you're looking pretty good. So yeah, nice position there, Ron. No problem. 98.6 is either clean breakthroughs, bearish and trend. Yeah, I would agree. If we break 98.6, especially with some conviction, then I think that's it for the buyers there. I wouldn't want to be trying to force anything to the upside. Again, short term, The thing about having a bias, it's relative to the time frame and the time horizon you're looking at. When I normally describe my bias, I'm normally talking about a daily chart. That's kind of my default setting for a bias. So when I say I'm long or bearish, it's normally on a daily chart. Um, so I would be short bias, but I'm sure there'll be some intraday short-term buys to take advantage of on lower time frames. It's just I would just be looking to short at that point in time if I do see some strength coming in. So if we have a quick flick through some other USD pairs, I'll do dollar CAD because that was requested earlier, and take a look at a couple more. Dollar CAD again hinting at potentially running out of steam. I wouldn't look to short dollar CAD just yet because of the area we're coming into. This is where I was buying from earlier in the week. Nice demand zone, very strong push to the upside, creating new highs as well. I wouldn't want to be selling into this, especially with the market looking a little bit tired at the moment. So I'd be cautious with the bearish bias on dollar CAD. But what I would say is we do kind of have this counter trend line at play. Should we see some conviction below that, especially taking out this low here too? Well, yeah, dollar CAD at that point is looking super bearish. We might be seeing a trend back to these lows or at least that low there first, 1.375. So dollar CAD, again, judging what USD is doing, I'm starting to shift a bit more to more of a bearish bias, but not until we break through this confluence here. I wouldn't want to be shorting into that. If you do see a solid break through that, let's say if we get maybe one or two strong daily candles breaking through that, that would be perfect. I'm looking for the shorts and the intraday time frame to take advantage of that. Equally, we could still potentially find support and still potentially continue this trend. Again, looking at the dollar, would I be confident that dollar CAD is going to rise? It's going to take a big shift in the DXY, or it's going to take a lot of weakness on the CAD, which we could see, but again, probability game, I don't think that's a likely move to take advantage of. So right now, I'll be a bit more neutral for dollar CAD, but what I'm waiting for is to see if we can get some conviction lower, and then the plan is pullbacks and looking to short the market. Right now, it's just a bit of a grey area, so I'm not really too interested with dollar CAD, but this is what I will be if we can see that momentum. And if we look at some other USD pairs, I mean, New Zealand dollar, I'm still pretty bearish on. It's just, again, I'll be a bit careful with the shorts. Coming into the week, I was looking to see if I can short it back to the low. Now with this momentum and now with dollar not really looking bullish anymore, I still do think we can catch a reaction from this area, but I wouldn't be looking to target down there anymore. It'll be more so, can we find a reaction similar to what CS mentioned on the DXY? Can we find a bounce? It may continue maybe, or maybe it might just be a temporary bounce before price does something like that. But even if it's just a short-term bounce, you can still look to profit on that move. It might not be a big winner, but you can still bounce nice partials or trade a stop if you want. So it could still be a profitable opportunity. But yeah, that bigger swing is just not looking fantastic anymore. So New Zealand dollar being a bit patient on, but it's coming to a nice area for a sell. Aussie dollar, I think, is still just very flat and still looking attractive at all, to be honest. I mean, if you look at the price action for the past few days here, it's been really, really flat, really, really sideways. I was kind of hoping that we'd get the breakout of this level and I can start looking for some momentum on the way back down, potentially back to this low, but that just hasn't happened, of course. Equally so, we might see price do that in the opposite direction. That would interest me. But to be honest, anything in here, I'm not really a fan of, unless you're looking to short the highs. So as we do approach the resistance here, I think that could be a smart place for a short-term sell. The price is approaching the extreme, a key level. There is a likelihood that we do see a bit of downside, especially if the market's quite stretched here too. So again, like New Zealand dollar, like dollar CAD as well, like the DXY, we might see a bit of a bounce coming to these areas. It's just, I do have my doubts about how far they go. So I wouldn't look to try and swing these opportunities, but maybe a day's worth of, maybe you might see a bearish day potentially. So that could be a nice shorter term opportunity to take advantage of. So yeah, I like the shorts here for Aussie. I like the shorts there for New Zealand dollar. It's just, I'm not looking at any big swings here. I think the biggest swings, again, like I mentioned, pound USD could look to take off, euro could look to take off as well. So that's a bit more I'm interested in. Okay, yeah, I was going to go to the yen pairs. We'll take a look at dollar yen, and then we'll go through some of the yen pairs. So the yen pairs is still quite interesting to me. I'm still keeping my eye on the yen basket, which is still looking very, very bearish. So expecting yen to be basically weaker than most currencies. Of course, I think that's going to slow down soon. They're not going to trend forever. Currency pairs don't tend to do that. So it's something to watch out for. But the current climate right now is still yen weakness, still dominant trends on the yen pairs. So that's still very much my plan for the moment. But I'll go through dollar yen. Dima, what's up, my man? Hope you're doing good. Welcome to the stream. Any markets you're looking at this morning or afternoon? But yeah, in terms of dollar yen, so we have had some nice momentum, but of course, the past week or two, we haven't really seen much continuation there. I think again, USD is kind of to blame there. So I am still bullish on dollar yen. It's just, do I have a good opportunity to buy this one? Equally, like we spoke about Aussie, like we spoke about New Zealand dollar, we are approaching some support levels where again, I do think we can have a bit of a bounce. It's just I will be a little bit reluctant to try and look for the big swing. And what I mean by that is not that this move can't happen. It's just again, it's going to take a lot of strength on the dollar for that to happen, which is not looking likely. And again, things can happen which will surprise you. Dollar might not be looking strong right now, but then maybe something happens and news comes out, and all of a sudden dollar's strong again. So that can happen. So I never really want to cap the profit potential in a trade, but I want to be aware of the situation in trading. So I'm expecting price not to go too far, but I want to give myself the opportunity to trade that big move if it does happen. Best way to do that is take partials or in slightly more trending environments, trading stops. So again, dollar yen, there might be a bit of a balance here as we approach 154.8. Again, I would be a little bit doubtful of the big swing back to the high in this situation now, unless something changes for the dollar. But I do think that's a nice support level to keep an eye on. The other yen pairs, which I do quite like, Swiss yen, still looking very bullish to me. I mean, it has been flat over the past few days, but again, looking at the bigger picture, still a very dominant uptrend here. And as we pull back into support, we tend to respect it. So if I can see a push back to this level here, in fact, if I can see a wick piercing through that level, that would be a very nice entry signal, and I'll be more than happy to get along in that location. Same exact situation for Euro yen as well. Very bullish market. We've got a lovely level of support level just below current price. This is where I want to position myself for the continuation. If I expand to the daily chart, well, do we have a pretty clear uptrend here as well? So the narrative and the trend is pretty much clear for all to see. If we are going to continue this trend, if this trend is going to achieve new highs again, then support levels like we just mentioned are quite likely to hold. So my focus for the yen pairs, particularly Euro yen and Swiss yen, is a bounce to that support level. And like dollar yen, we might see a bounce to that support level as well. It's just I do think there's a bit more wind in sales for Euro, a bit more wind in sales for Swiss at the moment. Pound, I still like as well, but it's starting to lose a bit of steam, becoming a bit more corrective. There's still a big level on the daily, weekly chart, which we haven't quite tested yet. So I still do think there's a bit more upside, a bit more room pound yen can move into, but you can see we are looking a little bit more tired here. I don't really have a clear cut level to trade from. Perhaps that low there, but again, Euro yen and Swiss just look a lot better. So I'd rather just trade one of those two and put my eggs in those baskets instead of pound. So with the yen pairs, I think at the moment they're the better markets to focus on, at least in my opinion, because there's a bit more clarity in the direction there. USD could potentially shift. Like I said, if we do start to see momentum through this low, then we could be seeing a lot of downside and opportunities on pound, opportunities in euro could look really good in the next maybe 1 or 2 weeks. How long till Christmas week? So we've got this week, we've got next week, we've got the week of the 15th, and then the week of the 22nd is when we've got Christmas Eve, Christmas and Boxing Day. So Yeah, the next 3 weeks look appealing. That fourth week of December is probably a week where we're not going to see price probably make its moves. And then the following week, of course, is New Year's and New Year's Day. That I'll probably start looking to pick up the pace again. And then, of course, the following week after, well, in Jan. And that brings it into 2025. It's gone very, very quick. I don't know about you guys, but yeah, 2025 is gone in the blink of an eye. But yeah, so yen pairs, dollar, euro yen, Swiss yen. I like what I'm seeing. USD pairs, being patient for now. I'm not jumping into anything just yet, but maybe again in the next couple of days or two, we'll see if we can get some opportunities on maybe like Euro USD, Pound USD, Euro USD, Pound USD, maybe dollar CAD as well. If I do see a significant break to the downside, that could interest me. Dollar CHF is quite flat. I do like this one. Again, I'm very bullish on the CHF itself. It's just, again, where's my best opportunity to trade it? It's probably be at the highs here. So yeah, I'll be looking for some kind of mean reversion opportunities at the top of the range. Makes the most sense. If not, then the only way I see an opportunity to trade this is if we get a really big break of structure, the market breaks out that consolidation, which could take a while. So yeah, use CHF. I'll probably put the back foot for now, unless we do come back to test resistance. Then I don't mind looking at some lower time frame shorting opportunities there, because that way, in the line of dollar trends at significant resistance, there's a good chance we can see a bounce there. In terms of the crosses, now crosses have been a little bit sketchy. I've been again, pound Aussie is one of the crosses I've been speaking a lot about. Yeah, nothing has kind of materialized with this one, unfortunately. So no trade opportunities here. I mean, there is a trade opportunity, just that price hasn't come back to test that level. This is the level I mentioned at the start of the week. If we can come back and retest, that's where I can find an entry, stop also love, and hopefully look to short it back into the low here. But yeah, this week's kind of a mixed bag. To be honest, we're stuck in the middle of a range, so it's kind of what I expect. But yeah, other than that, none of the crosses really shaped up. Pound CAD, Euro CAD been quite flat. We have broken out that resistance here, so potentially if we continue to break the high, I might actually be looking to find some lows in Pound CAD, which actually lines up quite well with the Pound USD bias as well. So I was short bias in both of them coming into the week. But now that we're breaking structure, I will look to be shifting that to a bullish bias if they do persist. EuroCAD as well, still quite flat, but if that does break out either direction, I would actually become quite interested in this market, because we've been flat for quite a long time, and hopefully the breakout will provide a lot of momentum. If we trend back to the highs, it gives a quite clear target for us to aim for. So going forward with the crosses, I'm going to kind of stay on the back seat for them right now. I don't really see any of them providing much opportunity. CHF pairs I do like, but they just look a little bit tired. I'm very bearish on CHF pairs. They've been falling for quite a while, so I'll only really be looking at shorts unless they make any major break of structures, which at the moment they haven't. New Zealand CHF coming back to resistance. CAD CHF for resistance as well. Pound CHF, I'm not a big fan of. That looks like it's clawed back underneath this low here and actually found it as support. Euro CHF looks really, really tired. And again, respecting support there too. So if I am going to get into any CHF pairs, it might be New Zealand CHF or CAD. Possibly Aussie CHF as well, but again, that's just a ranging market. But there might be some opportunities at the high here. But all in all, I think the CHF pairs are a little bit tired, so I might give those a little bit of a break. What's up, Rexus? Welcome to the stream. Hope you are doing good. And in terms of the indices, they've shown some nice upside this week. I would say they're in full flow at the moment. I think they're still quite flat, but they are hinting that they're kind of getting ready for a breakout, possibly to the upside, because we have this supply zone, which I said be careful of coming into the week. We haven't really seen much bearish momentum coming into the market from that zone. Yes, we had a bit of a reaction here. I think this was, as we opened up for the week, but it had no follow through, no conviction. So to me, it looks like the buyers are starting to win this battle, and if momentum can pick up, I do think again intraday is the best way to take advantage of these setups and a push back to the high there around 69.22. Likewise, Dow Jones looking like it's picking up momentum too. This one probably more so than the other US indices. We had this consolidation, which again, price is broken out very well. Again, it looks like US 30s is destined for another pushback to a high. I would suggest maybe a bit of a correction and then hopefully a continuation there. If it drops like an hourly chart, yeah, see a bit more detail. So yeah, I'll keep an eye on the retest of the high. Even this demand zone is slightly lower. I would suggest that's a nice opportunity to keep an eye on. But in terms of direction, yeah, definitely hinting at a bullish price. Nasdaq again looking pretty bullish too. We came back into the supply zone. Not much of a reaction. We still haven't cleared it, so I wouldn't get too excited, which is why, again, I mentioned we still need a bit more upside before I would suggest looking to buy. US 30 looks good, but I would say S&P and NAS still kind of in that grey area, but they're hinting at picking up some momentum. And if so, well, back to highs where I see they where I see them pushing towards. So again, intraday buys, best situation there, best circumstance. I wouldn't be looking to try and short them at all. And then the indices, the crypto stories, they have seen some upside this week. I'm not too sure about the significance of it. It doesn't really do anything for me in terms of the past, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks worth of price action we've seen on the cryptocurrencies. Yes, it's a nice couple of bullish candles, but is this a statement to say that the cryptocurrency is about to start to rally now? I don't think so. So I would still be pretty bearish here. I would still be looking at something like this happening over the next few days. Ethereum as well, I'll still be looking at something like this happening. Don't get me wrong, I do think they're coming to areas where they could look to potentially reverse. I mean, look at Ethereum here, massive demand zone. I do think we'll probably eventually reverse from this zone. BTC, similar demand zone as well. I do think price can reverse from this zone. XRP is kind of middle of nowhere, but more or less testing key support too. I do think sooner or later XRP is going to fall flat too and eventually see some upside. So I'm still very bullish. I do think another bull run will happen soon enough. I just don't see the couple of bullish days we've had as anything too significant. So I'm still looking at us kind of rolling over and maybe even coming back to these lows here too. Of course, being a bit more cautious because we know we're testing that big demand zone. But yeah, I don't see this lasting too long, so I'm being a bit careful there. And in terms of oil's seen some upside today, but again, very flat for the past few months actually, going back to maybe August. I still do like oil back to the lows here. 55 is still where I've been targeting. I've actually had this bias since we had this kind of rejection over here. When was that? That was in June. Simply because we maintained these low highs. So I'm looking for us to return back to support here. So I've been pretty bearish in oil, which could invoke some more weakness for CAD. Interestingly enough, CAD has been on the weaker side of things, I would say, generally. CAD CHF's been down, pound CAD's been up, Euro CAD's been up, Aussie, New Zealand CAD's, Aussie CAD's been up, New Zealand CAD not so much. Dollar CAD a bit of a mixed bag. So CAD has been a bit on the weaker side of things. But yeah, we are running out of steam, so I don't see a worthy opportunity in this area. But if we can push back to resistance here, I think that's a smart place for a short because you've got these lower highs. 1, 2, 3. I could see price making a fourth, another push back into resistance and then pushing back down, something like that. As you can see, price kind of sweeps the high, forms the high, then has that drive, sweeps the high, forms the high, has the drive, sweeps the high, forms the high, then has the drive. So I can see price doing that. That's effectively a much better place to short than anything in here, really, unless you're looking for a very quick short-term move. So yeah, oil, I would suggest keep an eye on that bigger levels, more so daily 4-hour levels. that's where I think the opportunity does lie. Trying to trade inside here is just a lot of noise, unless you're going to be very, very short term, be in and out. Then yeah, you might find something. If not, then I would stay away. So oil, I'll be very watchful of that. And yeah, I mean, potentially you might see the continuation, but I wait for the price to push the resistance. And then in terms of gold and silver, some of the metals, again, silver, very impressive, I have to say. Very nice move past few days. I would still be pretty bullish here with silver. Momentum's picked up very well recently. I think, again, the safest bet here is still looking to buy the dips until proven otherwise. Such a significant breakthrough this high is a bit of a statement, to be honest. So it looks like buyers are still very happy to place their capital into silver, and as a retail trader, you want to take advantage of that of that narrative. Gold still looking bullish as well, but not as bullish as silver. Looks like we're kind of struggling at resistance here, so I'll be a bit more careful with gold. But I do think the likeliness of gold to follow what silver's doing is pretty high. So with a matter of time, probably gold's going to be back at the highs here again. So I do think buys are the best bet for gold. I think there's two ways to go about it. I don't want to be buying now because effectively I'm buying into resistance. But if price can pull back down into this zone, well, that's a more effective place for a buy. Not my favorite, but it makes a lot more sense. Big demand zone gave us our last swing, which created new highs. You've effectively got this trend line at play as well. You're looking for price to dip back down, find another higher low, and then persist in that trend. I think the better opportunity, especially in terms of momentum, is if we can see some conviction through this high, because then that would put an end to that resistance level. The odds of us pushing back to the high there will be pretty great. There's clear buying pressure coming into the market there as well. And then looking for some intraday pullbacks, I think would be the best bet. Perhaps even a retest on the high, that would be a nice opportunity. And then you're looking to see if you can attack the highs there off the back of that. So gold, I think there's an opportunity to be had because it looks like silver's had that breakout, had that burst of price action. Gold hasn't really seen that yet. So I would say gold's lagging behind silver a little bit. So there might be a bit of catch up, a bit of a catch up opportunity there with gold. And especially if you do break resistance and then looking for the pullback. But yeah, I would also suggest this, and especially in terms of risk reward. Yeah, in terms of risk reward, that would be the better setup, but I think that's the more likely one to play out. So yeah, in terms of the metals, I would still be very bullish. I think buys in both gold and silver make a lot of sense. I probably would lean a bit more to gold just because silver's already had that kind of burst and that breakout. So it might be a bit more on the tide side of things. I mean, the trend's still strong, but gold has been flat for the past few weeks now. So potentially this is gold getting ready for its next, one of those breakout moves. So I think there could be a lot of momentum to take advantage of there. So yeah, I'll keep an eye on gold and silver. I think both of them look good. In terms of copper, a little bit more trendy, I would say, over the past few days, but altogether a very flat kind of metal. Naturally, gold and silver do trend a lot better. They will have a lot more advantages. Copper, a bit more of a stable situation here, but when the metals do rise, when gold is up, silver's up, technically you will see copper up and other metals up too. And naturally, there is a bit of a trend going on. So I do like the idea of buys, but I wouldn't be as bullish on gold, as bullish on copper as gold and silver. And again, I don't think we're at the best place for a buy anyway. Kind of approaching the highs here, which I'll be a bit careful of. Perhaps another pullback into demand, where we're stacking up these zones. That could be an effective place for a buy there. So I would suggest a bigger pullback for copper would make a lot more sense, and it makes sense because the market's a bit more flat, so you don't get as aggressive with this one. Same with palladium as well. This one has been trending very well, but has been a bit stagnant over the past few days. But I do think, again, similar to gold, it's been trending well, but it might just be in a bit of a consolidation period before the next big drive. So there's two ways to go about it. Either try and get into the market before the next drive happens, a little bit more risky, but risk reward makes sense. Or or wait for the first initial breakout and then jump on the back of that. Safer, more probable, but again, you might be jumping on a bit of a fake move. But again, no trade is completely safe. All trades will carry risk, which is why we've got a stop loss. Depends how you want to go about it. I would say if you want to get that kind of early trade, early to the party, great entry, get in before the moves happen, before other people block onto it, then you're kind of looking to play the range, looking to see if we can get another drive back to the low of this range here, 134, 134.4. I think that would be a small place for a buy. Maybe we can spike through that and tag to this zone here. I think that would be a very effective place for a buy. If not, then you wait for price to show some real strength through this resistance. Excuse me. And then hopefully we can find some pullback shortly after. And you've got pretty much a smooth path, I would suggest, back to resistance here. And maybe beyond that too. So I'll keep an eye on metals, especially palladium and gold. Of course, silver free flowing already, makes sense to keep buying that one too. So then I'll focus heavily on the one that hasn't moved yet as well. So let's say if gold starts to pick up momentum and palladium hasn't, then I'll shift a bit more to palladium. My mic is not working. Don't tell me I've been speaking to myself the whole time. Has anyone else experienced not hearing me? Let me check my mic. Looks like it's connected. So yeah, that's because there's an echo in the room that I'm filming, and I'm trying to cancel out the echo by putting stuff around. But yeah, I do apologize for that. It's a temporary location at the moment, so hopefully when I do shift, the echo will go. But I'm trying to manage it at the moment. But yeah, I do apologize for the echo. Okay, you can hear me. Just sounds okay. Yeah, I'll try and see if I can fix that. But yeah, it's a temporary location at the moment, so I'm making do with what I have, unfortunately. Noah, what's up, man? Yes, we can take a look at silver. Now heading to 56.8 and bouncing to 57.5. Okay, yeah, we can take a look at that as well. Appreciate it, people. Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, at the moment I'm still traveling, so I'm kind of juggling that with the streams, which is why I didn't stream for the past 2-3 weeks. So I didn't really have a stable internet connection as well. I've only just had a bit more of a stable internet connection now. But yeah, still a temporary location, so bear with me, peeps. Bear with me. But yeah, in terms of silver to 56.8, sorry, and bouncing 57.5. Nope, that's gold. 57.5. What time frame are you referring to, Noah? Are you a bit more intraday? I think you might be. 5 minute, yeah, that helps. Let's drop to the 5 minute. It's been a while since I've looked at silver the 5 minute. Okay, so 57.5. That's basically where price is trading. And 56.8. That's back at the low there. So can we see silver now heading to 56.8 and bouncing to 57.5 again? So you're looking for price to come back into support and back up to resistance potentially. Again, you don't want to be so much of a predictor of the markets because that's always a losing battle. But what I would suggest, given the current environment on the 5 minute chart, I would be looking for a similar trade. Essentially, this is my bullish zone because this is, of course, what gave us our last high. Not brilliantly. The market only just clawed the high, so it is a little bit more of a tired market. But I would suggest if we are going to be bullish from the high time frames, this level should hold. It might get wicked through, might be a bit of manipulation in that aspect, but essentially we should hold this level. If it does break, then we're probably not looking at probably looking at a deeper pullback at that point. So yeah, I do think it's effectively a smart place for a buy. Whether we get back to 57.5 again, that's a different question. I would bet on us to do that because I'm expecting the high time frame trend to continue. But what I would comment on is that the location of where you want to buy makes sense in terms of where you're going to place your targets and if price will get there or not. There's not much we can do about that until everything's said and done. I would say targets in a fairly smart place. I would say entry in a fairly smart place, and that's a good opportunity in my book, especially you've got the support of a very bullish market on higher time frames. You've got that window to sell. So I would say that trade idea does make a lot of sense. To be honest, clear trend, clear momentum, coming back down into not only a level on the 5 minute, but effectively a level on the 4 hour chart as well. So it does make sense there. But of course, whether it will actually do it or not, that's down to silver itself, and we'll only find out once everything's said and done. So yeah, I do like the idea. I do like the location of the entry and the location of the target. And I would suggest even maybe don't have that hard target, or potentially you could split your position. Half the trades you target that level, and the other half you let run, maybe with the trading stop, because especially as a trader, one of the best skill sets you can learn is being able to lean into what type of conditions the market is doing. For example, if the market is a bit more choppy, well, you're not going to be as aggressive with your targets. You're not going to be looking for a crazy move because probability-wise, you might catch a nice initial push. The odds of price reversing against you back towards your entry is actually pretty high in those conditions. When you get a market which is steaming to the upside, very bullish, has a lot of incentive behind it, like silver, like gold does, you want to do your best to take advantage of that because you never know, you might be on the right side of another one of these moves. And if you cash out in the 5 minute, the risk reward's quite big. So I would suggest have that target, maybe split your position into two. Half the position is looking to target that level, and you close that trade when it gets there. The other half you trail just in case we do get that bigger move. Worst case scenario, price reverses and it'll take you out of the trading stop too. But yeah, I do like the position of it of that trader. So yeah, I'll keep an eye on both gold and silver. I do think there's a lot of opportunity there. But in terms of right now, yeah, Euro yen, Swiss yen is my main focus. Potentially DXY over the next 2-3 days that could happen. If I can see momentum, especially if we break through this level of support well, then I'll look to see if I can buy some nice shorts, shorts on dollar, but longs on like euro, longs on pound. Pound already looks good because of that day's close yesterday. It looks to me that price has essentially failed that breakout. Seen a bit of pound strength come back into the market, and now we've had a lot of conviction on that Wednesday candle there. So what I would suggest now is that if we can see a pullback into this zone, 1.326, we're looking healthy. As long as we kind of accompany that with some USD weakness too. If the USD weakness persists, I mean, so we continue trending lower. And I think pound's a really nice trade. I think dollar CAD could also be a very nice trade too. It's just lacking the breakout right now. And the reason why I do like dollar CAD as well is because we're trading at a very critical point here on the higher time frames. If you look at the weekly chart, if you look at this high here, right now dollar CAD looks to me like a market which is not sure if it's about to have a breakout or it's had a bit of a fake out. And I think if we can see a strong break of that kind of trend line, well, that kind of shows, dollar CAD kind of shows its hand there in terms of, okay, this is essentially a fake out and there's a lot of room for us to continue lower, potentially to the lower end of this range here, 1.32. I know that's a long-term forecast, but it's nice to know what the bigger move could be. It gives you a bit more confidence in the lower time frames. So yeah, dollar CAD I think is one to be very aware of. It doesn't trend well, dollar CAD, but it will have its moments, as we can see. Perhaps this is just a big flag correction pattern, and if momentum breaks, I do think there's a lot of room to the downside. So yeah, got to be patient, dollar CAD. Equally so, we could still find support here in rally. So it's not a given. It's not 100%, which is why we're waiting for the break. But I will keep a close eye on that. No, I'm not in any positions at the moment. I'll probably say the closest market to give me a trade is probably either Euro yen or Swiss yen. Probably Swiss yen actually at this point on the bounce of this support level. There is too much lows on dollar CAD. Do you mean there's too much support underneath in terms of these levels here? I mean, yeah, dollar CAD is a choppy pair, so that is going to be the condition of the market. But the reason why I like it is just because of where we're positioned. You know, if this is a fake out, there's a lot of room to the downside. But I do agree, if you're talking about the lows here in terms of support levels, yeah, there are a lot of them. Which is why I wouldn't look to try and swing dollar CAD in one move back down to these lows, just because of the nature of the market. It's going to be very choppy. I'm not expecting like a clean move here at all. What I would be expecting is like maybe a push down, a bit of consolidation, maybe push back up again, another push down, and a bit of consolidation, maybe a counter bullish trend forms, and then we see some conviction lower. That's kind of what I'm expecting for dollar CAD. So it's not a situation where, okay, we've got a nice counter trend line break, stick some shorts on, a few days later we'll be trading here. I mean, that could be the case, but highly doubt that, especially with a pair like dollar CAD. So you're absolutely right. There's a lot of lows to watch out for, which is why the short-term game is probably the best game here. You know, if you can find a short-term trade for a day or two, take that short, take your profits, move on to the next trade. Maybe price us to consolidate, and then you see another opportunity for a quick short there. Take a profit. I wouldn't be looking to target there, but that's the overall goal we'll be working towards. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Which is why we're only looking to take small pieces of the cake as we go along. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's a good point, to be honest, because a lot of people kind of miss that. Yeah, if there's a lot of noise on the way down, you're probably going to see a lot of noise on the way up. Which is why if you get a very clean move on the way up, say a very aggressive rise in the market, especially in FX, you don't see this with other markets because FX is a very neutral market. So normally what goes up does come down and vice versa. So if you do see a very aggressive move up, not a lot of support formed along the way up, you probably will see a fairly aggressive move down. And actually, dollar CAD has actually just done this, to be honest. Goes to the weekly chart. Over here, there was a very fast, rapid move up, not a lot of support found, and we came back down pretty much just as hard. This was a lot slower of a grind. Doesn't always mean be slow on the way down, but I would say majority of the time it does mimic that. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Dollar CAD could be a little bit choppy, and I think if you look at other USD pairs too, just across the board, there's a lot of choppy conditions at the moment. If you look at Euro USD, very choppy market there. I wouldn't expect a smooth trend to form there. I mean, it could happen, but I wouldn't bank on that. Same with pound USD, very corrective or coming back into the middle of the range. Aussie dollar's been so noisy. I wouldn't bank on clean price action until we can maybe break the high here. Then maybe we could bank on that, but still very choppy. And dollar CHF, absolutely not. This is in the middle of a range. This could be very choppy. And a big part of that is understanding where the best environments are to trade and where the best locations are to trade. Because if you can understand that, okay, there's a lot of noise here, there's a lot of support resistance clustered together, then if you ask yourself, where's the opportunity? Well, the opportunity is up at these areas, or in fact, waiting for breakouts, waiting for trends to form. Opportunities here very slim. I made this in the video I posted yesterday about edge. If you want to be trading on a more consistent basis, well, you're gonna have to trade the market in the better locations on a consistent basis. If you're consistently trading inside of here, you're making a lot of work out of this. You're making it very hard for yourself because even if you have the best edge strategy, whatever you trade, just in terms of pure maths, you're just going to find it a lot harder to make extract consistent profits inside of here than when you're trading at these areas or waiting for momentum to come into the market. There's ways around it, but you do a lot more heavy lifting there than you need to. So always being aware of conditions, being aware of support, where the buyers are sitting, where sellers are sitting. Is there a clear path to my target? Is there a big level in front of my target? Perhaps maybe I should partial out there, or maybe I should just exit there completely. It depends on the market itself and your risk reward, of course. But that could be a great method to improve your trading performance, because a lot of people kind of just trade just because the sake of trading. If you think more so about the market you're trading, especially the conditions, especially the environment, it will help you so much. Because you're not going to trade, for example, like how Euro yen's been trending, how gold's been trending. You're not going to trade those same markets as you would trade like an Aussie cat or like a euro pound. You wouldn't want to trade those markets the same way. Yes, they will have some overlapping conditions. At some points, euro pound's going to trend well. I mean, it's not a great trend, but it is trending. Even the choppiest markets will have their moments, but again, it's the environment you're paying attention to. It's not necessarily which currency pair or which market. Because equally, if you trade like the S&P, which trends pretty much all the time, there are some times where the S&P is flat. If you only trade when the S&P is flat, well then, you're not taking advantage of the true nature of the market. You want to wait for those trending environments. Same with the currency pairs. For example, dollar CHF ranging here. If you're looking for trending opportunities, wait for the market to start trending. Sounds obvious, but you'd be surprised. Especially when you've got a bit of money in the line. Especially if you lost the previous trade too. You always have that incentive to make the money back. Some really poor trades. And I know because I've done that a gazillion times before. I'm sure other people can relate to. But anyway, guys, we have come to the end of the stream. I will be live again actually later today on Trading Nate's channel, so do look out for me there. I think that stream is at like maybe 2 p.m. UK time. So if you're free later today, check out his channel because I'll be live on his channel. But in terms of my channel, I'll be live again tomorrow at the same time as always, 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. UK time. So if you have enjoyed the stream, guys, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I do really appreciate that. Thank you for all who have tuned in and of course has subscribed to the channel and has liked the video, the stream. It does really help out and I'm really grateful for that. Hopefully I will be posting another video, if not Friday, then next Wednesday as well. Of course, if you have any particular topics or any particular topics or technical videos that you want me to make as well, let me know. I do see pretty much all the chat's comments as well, so let me know and I can definitely add that to the list. Hey, Bashir, what's up, my man? Hope you're doing well. Yeah, just in time for the ending. I hope you've been doing good, man. It's been some time, but it's good to be back on the streams again. No worries, I mean, I'll be live again tomorrow, so hopefully I can catch you tomorrow. Or if not, if you're free later today, I'll be on Trading Nate's channel. Streaming his channel later this afternoon at 2 p.m. UK time. So if you're there, I'll catch you there. If not, hopefully we'll catch you tomorrow. Okay, all right. I appreciate the replay. Okay, cool. We'll see you there, Bashi. Okay, guys, take care. Thanks so much for tuning in. Drop a like before you leave. Do subscribe if you haven't done so already. I really appreciate that. But yeah, have a great day. Be careful in the markets as always. Take care. I'll catch you all in the next one.